Hello. Welcome to another real estate tactical training with Brett Swartz and Brent Silverbauer, eXp residential, eXp commercial. We are streaming on YouTube. We're streaming on, I think, Facebook, Twitter, and a couple others. And every single Monday or Tuesday, we're coming to you with some practical ways to help you close more deals, do more sales, but also it's, to be honest, it's just a chance for us to sharpen our skills and with one another, Brent and I. Brent, how are we doing today, brother?
Doing fantastic. Glad to be here.
Excellent. And so we just came back from the Family Office Club, right? This is a 4,000 plus family offices are part of this club. There's about 300, 400, 500 people in San Francisco where we had a chance to glean wisdom, to network. I had a chance to speak about the deferred sales trust and growing the business there. Brent, what was the number one or number two takeaway from that event?
Just how important it is to be able to raise capital. Access to capital is just an essential part of growing a business, and that's one of the things that I took away from.
Absolutely, yeah. I think raising capital and then also aligning your unique skill set with others who have a unique skill set and finding ways to form strategic alliances. The world itself is in a lot of ways shrinking in that access to information and the best talent can be found online. And also, but building that rapport and building those relationships takes it being in person, right? So to connect those things, I think that's how you can really grow massively. And whatever you're doing, which leads us into our topic today, which is basically the overall way to link professional value for your clients, right? And so I think the biggest thing to understand is that we each have unique experiences, which gives us unique skill sets, which allows us to provide unique value for our clients to solve those challenges, right? And so it's important to understand what it is that you offer that's different from the competition, that's going to help you solve challenges in today's marketplace, right? Now, this starts with understanding not only your value, your track record, everything else, but being able to articulate that. But you want to be able to build rapport with people and start asking certain questions that's going to unlock what they're trying to solve. And it's not until you fully understand the prospect's need that your value becomes the bridge between where they are and where they want to go. And so, Brent, what are some of the key questions to make sure that you're asking? And what are some ways to also tease out even more information with those answers that the seller, or that in this scenario, the buyer who might be buying your services, that you could help to bring out even more for?
Yeah, I think there's some open-ended questions that are really good. Like, kind of what are your goals in this, or like future, probably we call it futurizing. 5 years down the road, what does success look like to you in whatever this is? And then they'll be able to share a lot of that. So just kind of open-ended questions, and then mirroring and labeling sounds like this, and just asking more, for more information, essentially.
Yeah, it sounds like, it feels like, it seems like these are what you're facing. These are the emotional words behind, or the emotion behind the motivation, right? The emotion behind the struggle or the challenge, and putting it in a very practical way where you're listening intently, right? And then you want to move towards defining value, right? Defining value and linking that value. I think this is the key. Once you've discovered the need, once you've discovered the emotion behind the need, once you discover the want or the desire or the ideal outcome for them, you want to clarify that and check for positive feedback along the way. And so it's one thing to say, hey, look, I'd like to be, less toilets, less trash, less liability. I'd like to sell this multifamily property. I'd like to move from this house to this other house. Great. Well, you're clarifying that need, and you're saying, well, what would be the ideal outcome should this happen? And you're checking for positive feedback, things that would say, yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Or that's how I see that. And then the next part, I think, is key here, is you want a future pace, like you were kind of alluding to, right?
Pace, yeah.
So talk about future pacing and what that might look like.
Yeah, future pacing is basically asking us questions. What does this look like in the future? What does success look like? 5 years down the road, what does success look like? And then having them kind of look into the future and see what their desired outcome or goal is. That's a powerful way, because then they have that vision, they desire that vision, it's clear to them, and then you could say, okay, here's how we get to A to B. Future pacing is a powerful tool.
Absolutely. And what we're doing is starting casting vision, right? And like anything else. So we talked about momentum last week. That, remember, momentum is greater than the sum of all your leadership, strategy, and resources combined. And so momentum is ignited by vision, right? Sometimes people are so focused on what they don't want that they get paralyzed with the details, right? Versus casting vision of what they do want, which starts to propel the momentum towards an excitement that it kind of starts to pull them towards that, right? So no longer becomes sales, it becomes creating and sustaining momentum towards that future vision of what they want that ideal outcome to be. And so what we're doing here is we're helping them to cast vision. Now, they may already have some of that vision, but a lot of times we like to say around here is that vision leaks, right? It leaks for all the things we're doing. You're constantly having to cast vision for your family, for your finances, for your business, for your clients. It does not just stay consistent. It's like a plane with two engines going, and one engine goes out, the other engine goes out. It floats for a little while, then it starts to go down. So talk about the importance of casting vision for your clients, Brent.
Yeah, there's an ancient proverb that says, where there is no vision, the people perish or cast off restraint. And so basically, you got to have that vision as that guiding light. When there is a vision that people are passionate about, basically it gets them to take action to get there. And you got to reiterate that vision. Like in any organization, people forget, and people, forget why they're they get so caught up in the day to day, they forget why they're doing that. And like you said, vision leaks. And so it's almost like, when you feel like you've said it enough, like the vision enough, like that's when you got to say it again, and continually cast that vision. That's for your clients, that's for your employees, and, everyone in between in your organization.
Absolutely. And your vision must be very clear. Mm-hmm. It must be consistent, and it must be compelling. Mm-hmm. And it's the why behind every single what, right? And so if you're helping or trying to help your clients move towards a future vision that is based upon their need, based upon their challenge, right? And they're also talking about it, but you're also helping to create that. That's what's going to help to create some of that momentum, right? And momentum, again, it's the best thing to have on your side, and it helps to create forward action, right? And then the next thing, momentum, is it's activated by faith, right? It's like a belief. It's a belief on what is actually possible, because a lot of times people are so stuck in, like, again, the details of their challenge or their problem that they're dealing with, rent control, interest rates increasing, values decreasing, maybe not as many deals that are closing. And these things are challenging, but you've got to have, so what's possible. So talk about the activation by faith and how this can be a game changer to really activate the momentum.
Yeah, so you got to believe that it's possible, and that takes faith. There's an element of faith. So if you have a client, and you're like, hey, I want to get rid of, toilets, termites, trash, and tenants, and still have the same amount of passive income, they have to believe that that's possible. And the more that they have faith and believe that that's possible, that vision, like, basically gets traction, because if you don't believe it's possible, hey, I want to be a millionaire and retire at, 40 or whatever it is, but in your heart, you don't believe it's true, then are you really going to take action? No. But if you believe, hey, that I see that vision and I believe that it's possible, I have faith that I can do this, that this is possible, that's when that vision starts getting traction.
Absolutely. And that's really the key here, is that you're helping to ignite some momentum here. You're helping to help them clarify their vision, and you're helping them to see, feel, and touch what it's going to feel like a 1 year, 3 years, 6 years, right down the road,
right?
If they are to move forward. And by the way, this is how you're establishing what your proposal is going to be, right? When you walk in, you should never walk into a first meeting presenting the proposal, presenting the solution, because you haven't done the work of active listening, discovering the needs, checking for positive feedback, understanding the emotions behind the needs and what the ideal outcome is, and casting some vision, right? Some potential vision of what things could be. And now this is the key, right? Now here's the part where you want to then shift to linking yourself to the ideal outcome.
Right.
And this is where deal stories are so powerful, right? If you can tell a story about somebody who was in their shoes, who felt some of the same emotions, had some of the same challenges, and maybe had some of the same desires. Again, don't just focus on the problems or the needs, focus on what they actually wanted, right? And then link yourself as that bridge to help them accomplish that, whether that be selling their asset, whether it be deferring their capital gains tax, saving a failed 1031 exchange, whether that be, helping a junior agent, achieve success and be independent to be able to go on first meetings, second meetings, overcome the fear of the cold call, create content online, a podcast, YouTube channel, whatever that might be, whoever it is that you're working with and you're helping. You want to link yourself as the ideal solution to the need by sharing actual deal stories. So Brent, talk about the power of deal stories, having them available and connecting the dots for clients.
Yeah, I think it's powerful to share those stories. I mean, every time I share a story, people are engaged in that. You're talking about real life scenarios and situations. And when you can link those and they have those commonalities, say they're, they have a highly appreciated $5 million asset, and they want to go passive into something, and they've never done it before. And you can say, you know what? A month ago, I helped a guy. He had a $7 million asset, and he was nervous, and he was scared, and he did this. And man, you can call him on the phone. Actually, he is so happy that he got rid of these toilets, termites, trash, whatever it is. He got into a passive liquid investment. He has freedom. He's already gone through it. It brings that assurance that, there's other people out there that have done what you're proposing, and it's worked out super well. Usually we're scared to be the first. And when we see, okay, other people do it, it's safe, it works, or whatever that is in whatever you're selling, your products or your services, it's powerful. And it allows them to have the freedom to say, okay, I feel more secure about making this decision to move forward and take it.
Absolutely. So let's talk about what this actually means practically, right? What we're talking about is supporting the momentum that you've created, by systems. And a system is simply sharing consistently deal stories, right? Now, even ideally, let me get even more practical. So I created a YouTube channel, and we've got about 2,500 subscribers. And if you want to subscribe, check it out. Go to Capital Gains Tax, which is as the YouTube, search that, or Expert CRE Secrets. And on these channels, and in particular, Capital Gains Tax Solutions, we have what's called a playlist. And on this playlist, we call it Client Success Stories. Client success stories. I interview clients for sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes. And essentially, this is what we do. We create, by interview them, online, mini video podcast testimonials. And that playlist becomes a system in which every single time I have a potential lead who wants to either sell a business, a real estate, use a deferred sales trust, I'm immediately sending them that actual link to start to reach into and understand the story behind a lot of other clients, because I want to create a commonality, right? And then I also have a system that once they sign like a listing agreement or a conditional engagement agreement, guess what? We are then connecting them directly to a few of those clients so they can speak directly with them. And so this is a system. And so momentum is supported by systems. And so you create intentional systems that support, sustain, and propel your mission forward. And so if your mission is to win more listings, to help more people exit their highly appreciated assets, to grow your business, you've got to have systems in place that's going to support your momentum, right? And so this matters because the right intentional systems will sustain your momentum. Wrong or unintentional systems will hurt your momentum. And so a system is just simply how you accomplish your what. And your what is, hey, I want to grow my business. I want to help more people. And it does that simply, typically on an automated way, right? That's already organized and prepackaged, ready to go. And it's intentional and it's repeatable. And it's not overly complicated, right? And so simply creating some systems. And so if you don't have a YouTube channel, A, get that. B, if you're not creating video testimonies with your clients, start doing that right away, and then compile these into a playlist on YouTube where people can simply go there. You can share a link and they can go through. Any thoughts on that, Brent?
No, I think that's absolutely correct. And if you don't have systems, basically you are the system, and then you get bogged down in all kinds of little nitty gritty details. And so no matter what, you have a system. It's just Depends if it's good or bad, or if you're doing everything, or if you have a team that can do it.
Excellent. So now let's talk about once you've done all these things, you've discovered the need, you've cast some vision, you've done some ideal, future pacing, right? And you've linked yourself as the solution to the need. They're seeing that the momentum's there. Then there's a statement that transitions to basically we're considering working together to asking for a specific commitment. So what is that question, Brent, that you want to make sure you're asking? What does that look like?
Yeah. So for me, I'm a multifamily broker. So basically, my question that I asked, assuming we could agree on price and terms, is there any reason why you wouldn't exclusively use me to list and sell the property?
Exactly. And then you're listening and you're being quiet, just like Brent was doing there, right? Assuming we can agree on price and terms. When I come back with a proposal, by the way, and this is, there's different times you're going to be using this question, but ideally you had a cold call, you met with the prospect, you discovered the need, you had the first appointment, you built a ton of rapport, you've done all those things, and now you're transitioning to, should I do a proposal that warrants, is there enough motivation and momentum here to do a proposal that warrants me solving their problem and them hiring me to do a job, right? And so that's the key. Assuming we can agree on price and terms, when I return with the proposal that addresses your specific needs and helps you to achieve the vision you have for the outcome that you're looking to achieve, is there any reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list the property and sell?
Mm-hmm.
Then they're going to say something, right, Brent? What kind of things could they say? What would they say potentially to that?
Well, hopefully you hear, yes, absolutely, no problem, of course. But they may hesitate. And when they hesitate, that's because there's some reason, there's some objection that they have. And the worst objection is the objection that you don't know about. But they could say, well, I've been talking to this other guy, I have a nephew who just got into the business, well, I'm getting 3, proposals from other agents, but at least you're discovering where you stand with them, because the last thing you want to do is just totally waste your time.
Absolutely. And so this is going from amateur zone to pro. It's called deciding to go pro by asking direct questions as it pertains to their situation to find out, is this an opportunity for us to work together, or is this something where you've already figured out a way to solve this with somebody else, right? And so, or I'm competing for the business. This is all great. The bigger the deal, the more you're going to be competing, the more people who are going to be trying to win the business. And so competition is a good thing, but it's important for you to find out what the objections are, the challenges are, not so that you can overcome them right there. This is a rookie mistake. A rookie tries to all of a sudden try to overcome all of it all at once, right? They're trying to squeeze in, all of it into one meeting, and they're being impatient and not letting the relationship mature in a more organic way, right? And so you might say, well, what's the fee? You might say, I have another broker. You might say, my nephew is a real estate agent, and I promised I would work with him on the deal. Or my property manager is listing agent, or is an agent, and he's been managing my property for 30 years. And whatever that thing might be, you want to tell them, hey, I understand. It sounds like your property manager has been loyal to you, and you're very loyal, and there might be some kind of expectation there for him to list the property. Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay. Well, when I return with the proposal, and assuming we can agree on price and terms, and if there's a way to work alongside with your property manager to your satisfaction, is there any other reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list the property? Right? Yeah. Okay, great. And then they might say the fee. Well, what's your fee? Right? And it sounds like you have questions about the fee and the level of service that we provide and how that works. Yeah, I do have questions about it. Great. Assuming we can agree on price and terms and to your satisfaction, you understand why the fee, and it's a return on investment. It's not an expense. It's an investment and not an expense to helping to sell the property for the highest price and the best terms. Is there any other reason why you wouldn't allow me to exclusively list the property, right? And so the key is you're bringing the objection. You're saying you hear the objection. You're trying to label the emotion behind it. And then when you return with the proposal, that is the time to have a detailed plan on this. Is that making sense, Brent? Any thoughts on that?
No, and I missed one thing, to your satisfaction. I forgot that phrase. And That's an important phrase to have in there.
Yeah. And another way you might put it too, I was listening to Coach Burt this morning. Out of everything I just shared with you today, what did you like the most? Right. Yeah. And so because when you go to this conditional engagement agreement, right, or conditional, statement, if then, it does tend to them to go back to the negative, right? Like, well, I don't want to be charged too much fee, or I have an obligation to this property manager, or I have a nephew who could list it, or I could do it myself, or starts to go to a lot of the things that they don't want to miss. And I think it's important to come back to say, well, out of everything I talked about today, right, what did you like most? Well, I liked most that I didn't have to be forced by a 1031 exchange that was going to overpay for my property in an interest rate environment that's doubled in the past year. What I liked the most was I could relieve all this debt and not have to replace that debt in a 1031, and I could have like a deferred sales trust as a backup plan, right? What I liked the most is I could diversify into passive, real estate funds and/or eliminate estate tax, like whatever those things were, right? Figure out what they liked the most, and you say, great, right? Part of what I'm going to show you in my proposal is how I'm going to be able to deliver on those unique things that you like the most, while also addressing and being aware of creative ways to work other needs and challenges and wants that you want as well. And so here's a good way to summarize a lot of this. So if I could help you achieve those unique things that you like most, would that be of value to you? Would that be helpful? Would that be worthwhile? Would that be significant to you? And that's essentially it. And they say, yes, fantastic. You close for the next meeting. I'm going to come back in about a week. I'm going to put down the sales comps, the rent comps, the analysis. I'm going to put down the exit plan and the investment opportunities that you can go into. And how does Thursday of next week look for you to sit down and go through this in detail? How does that sound, Brent?
That sounds great.
Okay. Now, ideally, you're getting in person, right? If you have to Zoom, you Zoom. But do not forget to get in the car, to get in person. Nothing is like getting in person. But if you have to Zoom, you Zoom. Really, that's it for the day. We're risky out of time. If you guys want to get in touch with us, you go to expmastery.com. You can reach out to Brent Silberbauer or Brett Schwartz. That's me, on our Facebook, on our YouTube. We'd love the opportunity to connect with you if you are a real estate professional, if you're a business professional of any kind, helping clients exit highly appreciated assets. You want ways to separate and add unique value sets through capital gains tax solutions, or just amazing ways to do digital marketing and market and sell properties. That being said, Brent, anything else to add before we jump?
No, it's been great.
Appreciate everyone out there, and we'll talk to you again